Hi, this is Rhei, your stories from the Bible readers. So my next story titled David. It was on July 2018 edition. So makikita niyo ulit kung saan ko kinuha yung Pasugo na to. So makikita niyo sa screen. Actually, this is one of my natatandaan kong aral since PNK days pa. Ito si David na siya yung batang nagpapasto ng tupa. So, yun yung mga natatandaan ko during PNK days. But when we get older, so tinuro sa atin kung gaano katatag yung pananampalataya ni David. So, nakakamiss yung mga PNK days natin. So, medyo, alam niyo yun, kahit pa paano, nagkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na tinuro sa atin yung mga ganitong stories. And when we get older, naiintindihan na natin kung gaano katatag yung mga pananampalataya nila. So, hindi ko na ulit ito patatagalin. I'm so excited na mabasa niyo itong story na to. And again, this is Rhei, your stories from the Bible readers. David obeyed his father. He got up early the next morning and left someone else in charge of the sheep. Then he loaded the supplies and started off. He reached the army camp just as the soldiers were taking their places and shouting the battle cry. The army of Israel and Philistine armies stood there facing each other. David left his things with the man in charge of supplies and ran up the battle line to ask his brother if they were well. While David was talking with them, Goliath came out from the line of Philistines and started boasting as usual. David heard him. When the Israelite soldiers saw Goliath, they were scared and ran off. They said to each other, "Look how he keeps coming out to insult us. The king is offering a big reward to the man who kills Goliath. The man will even get to marry the king's daughter, and no one in his family will ever have to pay taxes again." David asked some soldiers standing nearby, "What will a man get for killing this Philistine and stopping him from insulting our people? Who does that worthless Philistine think he is? He's making fun of the army of the living God." The soldiers told David what the king would give the man who killed Goliath. David's oldest brother Eliab heard him talking with a soldier. Eliab was angry at him and said, "What are you doing here anyway? Who's taking care of that little flock of sheep out in the desert? You came here just to watch them fighting, didn't you?" "Now what have I done?" David answered. "Can I even ask a question?" Then he turned and asked another soldier the same thing he had asked the others, and he got the same answer. Some soldiers overheard David talking, so they told Saul what David had said. Saul sent for David, and David came. "Your Majesty," he said, "this Philistine shouldn't turn us into cowards. I'll go out and fight him myself." "You don't have a chance against him," Saul replied. "You're only a boy and he's been a soldier all his life." But David told him, "Your Majesty, I take care of my father's sheep, and when one of them is dragged off by a lion or a bear, I go after it and beat the wild animal until it lets the sheep go. If the wild animal turns and attacks me, I grab it by the throat and kill it. Sir, I have killed lions and bears that way, and I can kill this worthless Philistine. He shouldn't have made fun of the army of the living God. The Lord has rescued me from the claws of lions and bears, and He will keep me safe from the hands of this Philistine." "All right," Saul answered. "Go ahead and fight him, and I hope the Lord will help you." Saul had his own military clothes and armor put on David, and he gave David a bronze helmet to wear. David strapped on a sword and tried to walk around, but he was not used to wearing those things. "I can move with all this stuff on," David said. "I'm just not used to it." David took off the armor and picked up his shepherd's stick. He went out to a stream and picked up 5 smooth rocks and put them in his leather bag. Then with his sling in his hand, he went straight toward Goliath. Goliath came toward David, walking behind the soldier who was carrying his shield. When Goliath saw that David was just a healthy, good-looking boy, he made fun of him. "Do you think I'm a dog?" Goliath asked. "Is that why you've come after me with a stick?" He cursed David in the name of the Philistines' God and shouted, "Come on, when I'm finished with you, I'll feed you to the birds and wild animals." David answered, "You've come out to fight me with a sword and a spear and a dagger, but I've come out to fight you in the name of the Lord all-powerful. He is the God of Israel's army, and you have insulted him too. Today the Lord will help me defeat you. I'll knock you down and cut off your head, and I'll feed the bodies of the other Philistine soldiers to the birds and wild animals. Then the whole world will know that Israel has a real God. Everybody here will see that the Lord doesn't need swords or spears to save his people. The Lord always wins his battles, and he will help us defeat you." When Goliath started forward, David ran toward him. He put a rock in his sling and swung the sling around by its straps. When he let go of one strap, the rock flew out and hit Goliath on the forehead. It cracked his skull, and he fell face down on the ground. David defeated Goliath with a sling and a rock. He killed him without even using a sword.